Okay, full disclosure, this is the second time I'm recording this video because the first time around, my mic was just off. And so I was just talking to myself for 20 minutes. So, let's run through this again. It would appear that Randy Pitchford has decided to tank Baldur's? What the fuck am I saying? What am I on? Borderlands 4, and it would appear that he has decided to do this not by making a bad game necessarily, because we don't know. There's still a lot of people who have a lot of expectations about Borderlands. I almost said it again! And they are hoping that it's going to be a good game. They've been talking about what they want to see in it, and all of the amazing things that could be done to make an awesome game that everybody's gonna love. As I'm sure everybody who's into Borderlands knows, we had Borderlands 1, we had 2, we had the pre-sequel, and then we had 3, which we don't talk about. We don't talk about 3 because it was just bad overall in terms of gameplay loop. It didn't have particularly interesting classes, it didn't have particularly interesting story, it severely damaged a lot of characters that people liked, and overall the humor was just really bad. It's what you would refer to as millennial humor. Now, why does everybody hate millennial humor? Everybody hates millennial humor because it's humorless. Millennial humor is the type of thing that you expect out of that person that you don't really like hanging out with because they peaked in high school. And they peaked in high school, and when I say that, I don't mean that they were popular in high school. I just mean that it was just the height of their life, because at the time, nobody really had expectations of them, and so they were able to just not be anything. They were just like this amorphous blob of a personality that you didn't really like hanging out with. You kind of just kept them off in the corner of the room while you hung out with their girlfriend because she found you a lot more interesting. And overall, these are the types of people that you don't really want to hang out with all that much. However, Randy Pitchford has elected to speak up on Borderlands 4. Now, Borderlands 4 was revealed a while ago to be a game that would have an $80 price tag. This is a bad thing. People don't want to pay that much for a video game. We even see it with Doom Dark Ages, right? Amazing game, easily an 8 out of 10. But it's not making amazing sales. It's not doing too well on Steam. It's doing really well on Game Pass. Absolutely, I don't think anybody can discount that. But on Game Pass, you don't have to pay for the game, right? Borderlands might be on Game Pass, but you can't exactly rely on that because, unlike Doom, Borderlands, I don't think is a Microsoft game. I could be wrong about this. I don't think Gearbox is a Microsoft studio. Regardless, people, as you can see on screen, are asking, Randy, don't make this game $80. It better not be $80. Don't take the risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed the notion of constant increase of the price tag. And this is true, right? Like, the 3 most successful games that, really had no right to be as successful as they are recently were Baldur's Gate 3, which everybody agrees was like a $100 game, except you paid $60. Actually, was it $60 or was it less? Hold on. Actually, go to the page. Yeah, it's a $60 game. I was right about it. I was right the first time. Regardless. It was a $60 game, but that's not as recent. Let's talk about, like, the recent stuff. We've got Expedition 33, and we've got Oblivion Remaster. Both of these are $40 games. People bought it up like hotcakes. I'm sure there's a third one, like in the back of my head there's a third one, but I can't remember it right now, so clearly it wasn't that important. Regardless, people don't want to pay $80 for a video game. People don't want to pay $60 for a video game. They're willing to pay $60 for a really good video game. They might even be willing to pay $80 for a really good video game. But ain't nobody paying $80 for mediocrity, right? And Borderlands 4 right now, after Borderlands 3, and with the things that we've seen leaning kind of in the same direction as Borderlands 3, Not to mention Gearbox kind of doubling down with everything they said in Borderlands 3 and going, oh, it was a good game, you guys are just being dumb and this and that and just insulting the fans. You're not making the sales that you need. This is going to be a Veilguard situation where the game's going to come out. For the first 2 weeks, all of the shills are going to be saying, oh, amazing game, yeah, yes, go buy the $80 game, and then another couple weeks are past and nobody's talking about the game anymore, and all of these accounts that were shilling for the game have shut themselves down. But regardless, the thing we are actually talking about today, I was stalling for straight 5 minutes, but the thing we actually want to talk about today was Randy's response to this person, and you can kind of already see it right here. Quote, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Yes, I believe this. I absolutely believe USB Stick Pitchford managed to pay for an $80 game while being a high school graduate with no financial responsibilities whatsoever at a time where necessities were extremely cheap. Unfortunately, that's not the situation that we're talking about anymore, right? People have financial responsibilities. Even people who are just out of high school, a lot of them do have financial responsibilities, and they have to pay for, they have to help their family pay bills. Sometimes they have to, start saving for their own future. And not to mention, high schoolers aren't the only people playing video games. There's a lot of adults playing video games. In fact, the vast majority of people playing Borderlands are adults with families, because it's an older franchise. People play these games in their childhood, and now they want to play them in their I'm not gonna say old age. I'm not gonna make Asmongold have to get up and go lie down for a second. But like, if you're almost 40, right? If you're pushing 40, you're kind of getting up there, right? It'll be my turn eventually, but you're there right now, so we get to laugh at you for a bit. Regardless, he also did that thing where you double down, where people were making some jokes about it. We've got Devolver Digital right here reacting to an IGN post where they mentioned the previous quote that we just went over, and Devolver Digital said, hey, you're going to be able to buy Mycopunk for you and 3 of your friends for the price of 1 copy of Borderlands 4. Now, Devolver Digital is an amazing indie studio. They make a lot of really good games. I recommend anything that they've ever made. They do amazing work. They've got a really nice art style, really good song and music choices. Overall, amazing studio. Randy Pitchford, however, decided to make a really bad joke about it, saying, Mycopunk is cheaper than a point of meth. Probably has fewer side effects too. Yeah. Now, everybody in the comments of this, everybody reacting to this, agrees that, yeah, maybe you should have shut the fuck up with this one. Maybe you shouldn't have said this one. Maybe you should have kept this one to yourself, Randy. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe I'm the asshole here, but I don't think I am. I think everybody else agrees that this guy needs to shut the fuck up. The last thing I want to talk about is even Asmongold himself weighed in on this. He's been a little bit more active on Twitter recently, and he said, the funny thing... Wait. The funny thing is that... Wait, I can't do his voice. Whatever. The funny thing is that this is true for many game franchises. Final Fantasy, From Software, Baldur's Gate. I'm not going to say Baldur's Gate. I will say Larian, because Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, amazing games. BioWare made them before they, went down the shitter. And Baldur's Gate 3 was made by Larian, but Baldur's Gate 4 is apparently going to be made by the same woman who made Veilguard. And by the way, she is a woman. She identifies as a woman. We're not gonna get into that discussion here. But you guys want to know what her previous experience was before Veilguard? She was the creative director of The Sims. And this was the person that they thought, yeah, this person will make Dragon Age great again. Yeah, man, it's gonna be great. This is just another case of The corporate overlords not knowing what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to video games. We've got a CEO, Randy Pitchford, Randy USB stick Pitchford himself, who, for whatever reason, has decided to tank an already struggling franchise. And he doesn't understand that he is at a stage where he needs to re-earn people's good graces, not count on them. And unfortunately, I think that this is going to be the death knell of Borderlands. I don't see them making an $80 game, which is almost certainly going to have an amazingly overinflated budget, and somehow make enough of a profit to not shut down. Especially with this type of thing, right? Veilguard antagonized its players by, pushing a lot of very divisive opinions and statements. And at the end of it, we saw what happened. Borderlands 4 is doing the same thing, except it's attacking people based on the economic situation, which pretty much everybody can agree is kind of shitty overall right now. I hope that this doesn't negatively affect the game. I hope that when the game comes out, it's absolutely worth the $80. I don't think it's going to be. I think this is going to be a very bad game, or at least for the price point, right? I think it's going to be a mediocre game, but mediocre games are 20 to 30 bucks a pop, right? Like, you can go on Steam, pay 20 bucks for just a random looter shooter that doesn't have a big name to it, and you'll probably get as much enjoyment out of it as you would of Borderlands 4. But, with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, subscribe. Cheers. Hopefully, the mic was working this time.